All right, let's jump right into it. Today, we're doing a massive explainer where we synthesize the core philosophies from 5 legendary books into a single, absolutely actionable blueprint for your life. We are pulling the best of the best insights from Atomic Habits, Think and Grow Rich, The 4 Agreements, The Laws of Human Nature, and The Psychology of Money to give you a complete roadmap.
So we're going to answer the ultimate question: what actually separates highly successful individuals from everybody else? And we're going to do it by weaving together the secrets of mindset, habits, human nature, and wealth. Because, true success, it doesn't just happen by accident. It's built. It's an architecture that starts from the ground up, beginning inside your own head and extending all the way out into your bank account. To make sense of all this information, we've structured this explainer into 4 really logical pillars. First, mastering your inner mindset. Second, building systems over goals. Third, navigating toxic human nature. And fourth, the true psychology of wealth.
Let's start right at the beginning with Pillar 1, mastering your inner mindset, which is really the foundation of your reality. Everything fundamentally begins with our thoughts and words. Don Miguel Ruiz warns us that the human mind is incredibly fertile, but the problem is it's often fertile for the wrong things, like seeds of fear and doubt. If you are constantly telling yourself that you can't do something, well, your subconscious mind just goes to work validating that negative belief. You have to be absolutely impeccable with your word, because whether you realize it or not, you're constantly casting spells on yourself.
Now, if you want to transmute a burning desire into tangible physical reality, Napoleon Hill actually gives us a precise formula for this. You can't just have some vague wish. You need a burning, pulsating obsession. By writing down the exact amount you want, what you intend to give in return, and literally reading it aloud twice a day, you are actively forcing out those negative seeds and reprogramming your subconscious mind. That brings us to Pillar 2, building systems over goals, where we transition from purely thinking into actually doing. Mindset is the foundation, for sure, but to bridge that gap into physical action, we have to look at James Clear's Atomic Habits. The absolute game changer here is realizing that goals only change your life for a fleeting moment. Focusing on systems is what actually differentiates true winners from losers. Think about it. Winners and losers in any field share the exact same goals, right? Every single Olympian wants the gold medal. The goal isn't what makes them win, it's their system of daily training. If you completely ignored your goals and just focused on building the right daily systems, you'd still succeed. 37.78. Okay, I want you to really think about this number. That is the staggering mathematical reality of getting just 1% better every day for a single year. You become nearly 38 times better. This is the raw power of Atomic Habits. It's kind of like an airplane flying from New York to LA. If the nose of that plane is shifted just 3 degrees at takeoff, you wouldn't even notice it at first. But by the time you cross the country, you end up in Mexico instead of California. Tiny, daily systems completely change the trajectory of your whole life. To really harness that compounding power, you can design your environment around 4 simple laws of behavior change. This makes your good habits practically automatic. Make your cues obvious. Literally leave your running shoes right by the door. Make it attractive by bundling a habit you need to do with one you actually want to do. Make it easy by removing friction. And finally, make it satisfying, so your brain gets that little hit of dopamine and actually wants to do it again tomorrow. If you're really struggling to just get started, apply the 2-minute rule. This bridges the abstract goal into a tangible, immediate action. For example, just commit to stretching on your yoga mat for 2 minutes. Don't set out to read a book a week. Set a system to read just 1 single page every night. Scale it way down until it feels completely effortless. You have to anchor the routine in place before you even worry about optimizing it. Basically, you got to show up before you can level up. All right, moving on to Pillar 3, navigating toxic human nature. Because you have to survive the outer world too. Once you start compounding those daily improvements, trust me, people are going to notice. And human nature isn't always supportive. Taking things personally traps you in someone else's emotional garbage, whereas having true emotional immunity sets you free. Imagine waking up feeling absolutely fantastic, and a friend immediately criticizes your outfit. If you agree with them, you've just swallowed their emotional poison, and now your day is ruined. But you have to remember this. Nothing other people do is because of you. It's just a reflection of their own internal reality. Every time a friend succeeds, I die a little. Man, that is dark, but it perfectly captures the reality of human envy. Robert Greene warns us that envy is the trickiest and most dangerous emotion to navigate among your peers.
As you build your blueprint and start really achieving your desires, the people closest to you might secretly feel a pang of resentment. It's a primitive force, and you absolutely must be aware of it if you want to protect your progress. You've got to stay vigilant. Protect your daily systems from the fragile egos around you by watching out for the subtle indicators of active envy. Look for those quick micro-expressions of disappointment when you share good news. Watch out for poisonous praise. You know, the kind that sounds like a compliment but somehow leaves you doubting your abilities? And whatever you do, never participate in gossip. Don Miguel Ruiz rightly calls it pure poison. Gossiping is literally like inserting a tiny computer virus into your mind, and it clogs up the clarity you need to succeed. And finally, Pillar 4, the true psychology of wealth, which is all about playing the long game.
If you've mastered your habits and shielded yourself from toxicity, you are perfectly positioned to build lasting wealth. Look at Warren Buffett's journey. It beautifully illustrates that his ultimate secret wasn't just his investing skill. It was the sheer, uninterrupted longevity of his compounding over time. We all think of Buffett as this legendary stock picker, but his true psychological marvel is his time in the market. Out of his $84.5 billion net worth, over $81 billion of it came after his 65th birthday. The real magic always happens at the very tail end of the compounding curve.
To really wrap our heads around the math of time, let's look at Jim Simons. He's technically a better investor than Buffett, compounding at a staggering 66% annually. But he didn't really find his stride until he was 50. If Simons had Buffett's lifespan in the market, his potential net worth would be nearly $64 quintillion. That is a mind-bending number. But because his timeline was shorter, his overall net worth is significantly less. It just goes to show that in wealth, time is exponentially more powerful than sheer intelligence or timing.
We also have to fundamentally redefine success here. We need to contrast the dangerous, debt-fueled illusion of being rich with the quiet, powerful reality of being truly wealthy. When you see someone driving a Lamborghini, they're rich. They had the current income or the debt to buy that car. But wealth is what you don't see. Wealth is the diamond rings you didn't buy. It's the cars you didn't upgrade. Being wealthy requires immense self-control, because honestly, the only way to be truly wealthy is to not spend the money that you have. Here is a wild fact. In wealth and business, you only need about 1% of your actions, these rare tail events, to drive 99% of your extraordinary overall returns. Out of the nearly 500 stocks Warren Buffett has picked in his life, only about 10 have made the vast majority of his money. Or look at Amazon. The Fire Phone was a massive public failure, but it didn't even matter because Amazon Web Services was a long-tail event that drove everything. You can literally be wrong half the time and still make an absolute fortune.
Now, we must always approach our financial journeys with deep humility. We have to remember the heartbreaking story of Kent Evans and acknowledge that success is heavily shaped by the uncontrollable forces of risk and luck. Bill Gates had the 1 in a million luck of attending the only high school in the world with a computer in 1968. His friend Kent Evans was just as smart, just as visionary, but suffered a 1 in a million fatal mountaineering accident before graduation. Luck and risk are siblings, guys. You can control your sails, but you absolutely cannot control the wind. So, bringing this entire explainer together, these are the core, actionable components you need to architect a highly successful and resilient life. You plant the seed with a burning desire. You take action through 1% atomic systems. You insulate yourself from the toxic opinions and envy of others, and you play the long game of compounding wealth while fully respecting the roles of luck and risk.
At the end of the day, all these atomic habits and the emotional mastery we've talked about, they serve one single beautiful purpose, giving you the ultimate dividend of controlling your own time. The goal isn't just a big number on a spreadsheet or a flashy car on the driveway. It's ultimate freedom. It's about not stepping on that hedonic treadmill of endless desire, but knowing exactly when you have enough so you can simply live life on your own terms.
I'm going to leave you with this final thought to ponder as you step back into your day. The ultimate blueprint is now right in your hands, but the very next move, that's entirely up to you. You can either be the active architect of your habits, your mindset, and your wealth, or you can just sleepwalk through life and let other people's realities dictate your future. Start small, get just 1% better today, and let time do the rest.